Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Perpetual Chess. We have the very first guest returning, although he's been back a bunch of times, but somehow it's been some years since his last visit, and we will introduce him in a second. But first, I'm going to quiz him. So I wanted to thank, as always, our sponsors, Chessable.com. So some of you may have heard my interview with Grandmaster Jan Gustafsson about the supposedly real Austrian defense against 1d4. Jan is sticking with his story. Even after that interview, Greg started messaging him with me on the message about, hey, can an IM actually play this opening? Is it not totally bogus? And Greg, what did he say?
Well, first of all, what did Young say on the podcast about the opening? He is insisting.
He said it's not totally bogus. You know, these days you can play anything. Computers
Yeah,
are very strong.
it's true. So it's probably it's playable. You just have to know some. I haven't looked at it at all. I'm telling you what it probably is. It's probably a very playable opening, but there's some very slightly worse end games at the end of it where the engine's like 0.15 for white, and if you know some accurate moves, you're gonna draw. But the thing is, I already played an opening that's good. Like, how many good openings do you need? Like against D4, there's probably like different things you can play that are. I might look at it someday because it's like prize weapon. I'm sure it's not. It's not as popular as other openings. Nakamura played it recently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, Greg, your brand is one of our interviews. You talked about how you just should play good openings and spend your whole life learning them. And I quoted you in my book, I believe, saying that. So anyway, we're going to formally introduce Greg now, but thanks to Chessable for supporting the pod. And if you sign up for Chessable Pro, be sure to use the link in the description. So Greg Shahade, in addition to the distinction of being the original Perpetual Chess guest, is also one of my oldest friends in chess, but more importantly, quite accomplished as a player, three-time national champion as a scholastic player. He's a trainer. He's founder of the U.S. Chess School. So in previous interviews, he's talked about like teaching a young Hans Niemann and Christopher Yu and basically all the Sam Shanklin,
Just name
all
all
the
the
stars.
troublemakers. Oh, Wonder Liang.
Yeah, good. Yeah, no misdeeds by a Wonder Liang or Sam Shankland, and yes, the list goes on. So that's still going strong. He's also an organizer, founder of the U.S. Chess League, which had an amazing run and subsequently became the Pro Chess League. We miss it dearly. But our friend is still involved in chess. He does not play OTB chess, as far as I know. I'm going to be checking in with him about that. But still active in Blitz. He's even been playing daily chess. He actually seems to be sitting on a lifetime high chess.com Blitz rating of 2797.
Right.
We'll talk about that too. And last but not least, since he last visited the pod, he became a huge champion of trivia. So we're going to talk about adult improving at trivia. But first, we are going to reintroduce to the pod. I am Greg Shahade. Welcome, Greg.
What's up? Happy to be here. I have so much to say based on all of that.
Point by point, you're going to augment or rebut my intro bullets.
Well, first of all, I don't want to call people troublemakers. Like, I love all of our U.S. Chess School people, even if sometimes they do something that's not great or, get some weird press.
Yeah, well, Hans certainly has been called worse, so at least.
The thing about, you said so many things, I can't remember. I was excited about everything you said, and now I'm like,
national champion.
no, that's boring.
Pro Chess League.
Or for the board chess, Pro Chess League.
Retired from OTB, new Blitz High.
New Blitz High, that's the one. So, first of all, you said I'm sitting on it. What do you mean by sitting on it?
I looked through your history. I have to go through so many daily games to see your Blitz rating,
and
it looks like
literally yesterday.
Huh.
Or 2 days ago, right? And then I was like, I need to play a game before this podcast to get 2,800 for the first time since 2797, and I just forgot.
Okay. I thought you were going to say you played 2 hours ago because I checked this afternoon.
No, I mean, like, because that would have been nice to be 2,800. It's actually really mysterious because I was playing a lot 4 years ago, like studying a lot, and my openings are really sharp, and now my openings are just much less sharp. But somehow my rating is higher, and I just feel like there has to be inflation. Like, it's impossible that I'm as good or better based on the fact that I do nothing. But everyone insists there's no inflation, so I don't know what's happening.
Could just be random variance.
Yeah, it could be more relaxed. Like, I have nothing to prove. I'm just playing and having fun. Yeah, random variance is the most likely culprit. But, like, also I just feel very chill about it. I don't care about the opening so much, so I move pretty quickly. And, it doesn't matter usually if you're, like, 0.3 ahead and minus 0.3 behind and, like, Blitz chess at my level. Like, very low level. It's just, like, so many swingy things happen later in the game.
Yeah, and even if the high itself is variance, to even be in the neighborhood of your all-time high for a player as strong as you are, you're 46. Is that right, Greg? I should
Yeah,
know this.
that's correct.
Yeah, 46 years of age, still pushing new highs. It's inspiring.
But I feel like imposter syndrome. It doesn't seem possible.
And are you playing many titled Tuesdays?
Zero.
Okay.
I want to play them, but I'm very lazy, and they're like at 11 a.m. my time. But when I was in Seoul, Korea recently, and I occasionally played one of these Freestyle Fridays, and those are fun. Because the
How
time
do
was like 1 a.m. or 11 p.m. It started. I forget. It started at a much more convenient time for me, basically.
Gotcha. Okay, and we'll return to the topic of freestyle chess, but I actually want to start with this tournament in Saudi Arabia that just took place, the Esports World Cup. So, for listeners who were not following it super closely, seemed like it was pretty well received, well presented, and of course, Magnus won, winning $250,000. He beat Ali Reza Firouzja in the final, 190K for Ali Reza's troubles, and Hikaru came in third, 145,000. So, Greg, we have a question from a friend of the pod and Facebook Chessbook Collectors founder, Brian Karen, on this topic. You ready for me to dig into it?
Yeah, I played him in a tournament, I believe, like
Oh,
quite
wow.
some time
Okay.
ago. I forget what
Okay.
tournament it was. I feel like it was in New Jersey or something.
He lives in Long Island, but
Yeah.
okay. Anyway, here is Brian's question. It says, Greg, you were one of the first to push rapid and team formats into the spotlight, from the Marshall Chess Masters events to the online team competitions you championed. The recent esports tournaments seem like a natural evolution of what you started. I'd love to hear your take. Do you feel these current events are realizing the potential you envisioned years ago? What innovations or adjustments could take them to the next level? And in this landscape of faster formats and team dynamics, how do you view the future and continued relevance of classical chess?
Well, it's kind of funny because there's many points and questions there. I even like help consult a little with some of these tournaments. So usually, like this tournament in particular, I didn't know what it was going to be beforehand, and like I gave my feedback. I think some of it was taken, some wasn't. But I think it's good. I think the tournament's really good. These types of events, like the EWC, even the freestyle one that happened like 2 weeks before it, and all of the what are some other big ones that have been happening recently? Because Chess.com runs a lot of really cool events too that were similar to the EWC one, just not in person with lots and lots and lots of money at stake.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's stuff like the Speed Chess Championship, the Bullet Chess Championship.
Yeah,
They had that team thing in London.
yeah, or that one. Yeah, yeah. You know what I think is cool? There's so many different types of events, and they're all interesting, and they're all like kind of varied. Like Speed Chess Championship is like totally different vibe, but it's also really exciting. So it's hard to get bored when things are like
And
different but similar.
not everyone would agree with that take, by the way. I have
Oh,
to say.
I'm gotta be honest. I'm gonna say something now that you're going to be shocked by. I'm starting to realize the benefits of classical chess.
Whoa.
Well, because here's the thing, I really think a great chess ecosystem needs everything. And
Yeah.
classical chess fills a niche that is really important, that rapid and other than blitz and stuff can't really fill. And it's a much more relaxed vibe. These games have these like long stories and peaks, and you can watch it in a very relaxed method. Like, the first 2, 3 hours of the game, you barely have to pay attention. You can just kind of keep it open in the background. Whereas in a rapid event, when they're playing 4 or 5 games in a row, when you miss games, it's more of a kind of disruptive thing to your enjoyment of the event, I guess. And yeah, I just think classical chess is great. Also, it's like a really great compliment to the rapid and blitz stuff that is taking a lot of attention lately.
Yes. I'll just interject for newer listeners. So Greg has been pushing the gamification, air quotes, of chess, the speeding up of it for more than a decade at this point. He's got a blog where he's written about it. You can go through, and as Brian Karen alluded to, way ahead of the curve on all this stuff, and a lot of the stuff that you argued for has happened. But it's nice to hear that there's still a place in your heart for classical chess, because I agree. I did feel like this event, maybe it seemed like it broke through a little bit more than some others, but you mentioned the sheer number of events as a benefit, which I think is great for the players. But as a spectator, even I find it overwhelming at times. So that would be my pushback on that front.
Yeah, how do you mean sheer number of just any events
There's
or?
chess stuff. There's events like all the time, and they're
Yeah.
kind of not that differentiated to me.
Well, I think they're starting to be a little more. I think so. I was involved helping with the chess.com. Now they had a lot of names like the Madden's Chess Tour and the Champions Chess Tour, and they would have like 4 or 5 events per year sometimes. And
Yeah.
that's not happening anymore. And I think those did sometimes feel they were great for the players, like you said, but they could blend into one another, you know? Whereas the EWC definitely is not going to blend into any other event. Speed Chess Championship is very unique, I feel
Oh
like.
yeah, that's a great event. Yeah,
World Chess
no,
Championship, very
yeah.
unique, and also like very fun. The freestyle one, also a very unique and interesting event. So I feel
N-
like you
Not so
don't think
sure about
so?
that one.
Did you
Yeah.
watch it?
I mean, bits and pieces.
How was it not unique? It was
I
great.
mean,
I mean, like so much
unique doesn't
drama.
mean good. I don't disagree that it was unique, but you often when someone calls something unique, they're like throwing shade. They're like, "Yeah, that shirt you're wearing is very unique," you know?
There were some weird things. I'm not saying it was perfect, right? But
Okay.
like having a bunch of money at stake and having freestyle chess be the feature, and seeing new names at the top, like seeing Aronian playing Hans in the championship, like
Yeah.
that's really interesting, right? You feel like that might not happen in normal chess, yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that tournament. I enjoyed the EWC quite a lot, and it's so interesting to me how at 10-minute chess there should be so much variance that somehow it just ends up Magnus Hikaru. It was funny
Yeah.
read that. I'm like, how hard is it to beat Magnus in 2 games? He's not invincible. He loses the title Tuesday to people sometimes.
I mean, if anything, it seems like he lost his edge more in classical than in speed chess.
But has he really? Who knows?
Yeah.
Still haven't seen enough.
So you're optimistic.
I mean,
I
yeah,
mean,
chess is doing great. I think we're figuring it out. And I don't think there's any anti-classical people quite as much anymore. I think everyone who's supporting these rapid events also realizes classical's place in the system. I think it's better than just every single event being classical that anyone cares about. How many big classical events are there these days? Not like quite as many. Like the World Cup, really cool. The Vikanzi, the Candidates Chess Championship. I feel like the
nor,
U.S. Chess Championship has lost some attention.
yeah.
It used to be huge, and now I just feel like it's like more
Yeah.
of blurring together.
Yeah. There's still Norway chess and the Sinkfield
Norway
Cup.
chess, yeah, I think Phillips sounds good too.
Yeah, but back to the EWC. I mean, one thing I will give it again, I didn't watch it nonstop, but I definitely saw that it seemed to resonate. And the main thing was the players just seemed to love it. Magnus was effusive. Hikaru made a video recap where he said, quote, "The event here was probably the best chess experience that I've had since the pandemic began in 2020, between the numerous fans who showed up, all the autographed pictures, the general atmosphere in the SNB arena where we played all these games. It was a phenomenal experience and I enjoyed it immensely. I'm very hopeful that I'll be able to come back next year and play in this event as well." So considering that Hikaru is talking about retiring sometimes, he's got a baby on the way, to be that excited to play, I was pleasantly surprised.
I just realized they both have babies coming.
Yeah, yeah, Magnus too.
Who's coming first?
It's a good question.
They're going to be in the World Youth together, like the same year.
Right. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, I thought it was a great tournament. I
Go
mean,
ahead.
everything about the EWC was like really cool. Like, I liked the Magnus versus Hikaru match was like very thrilling. Some of the earlier matches, it's fun watching lesser known people get a chance to shine, like Esipenko versus Nepo. Those matches were pretty cool. Like the commentators were like the guys with they had to. Did you see them?
I don't think so, no.
The guys, the main commentators, they had their suits with like no sleeves. These
Okay.
guys, um, they were fun. it was just a totally different vibe. So many different commentary teams that were like interesting and exciting. You had Ben Feingold, Maurice Ashley, and then you had
Yeah, I
like
saw that.
you have these other. Forgive me, I think the guy's name is. But there's like players that
Yeah,
they're
Big E
decent.
gaming guy. Yeah,
But he's like decent at chess, but like not like
yeah.
grandmaster or anything close to that. But he's like really good at it. Given that he's not like a master plus, like everything he says is like really smart and engaging in the right way. I just thought everything is great.
So for anyone who didn't watch it, what would you say? I mean, you just named some of the things, but what would strike them as different?
Production value, the stakes are so high. This is a lot of money. When you can win six figures with just a few good chess moves, that can mean a lot to people. Probably not as much for the ones who actually made the money, but there's
Yeah,
people in that tournament where like, if they win 140,000, it's really nice.
yeah, for
I mean, it's
sure.
nice to everybody, but like there are levels, because if you're not used to winning that level of prize fund, it's more meaningful.
Returning to freestyle chess, so you enjoyed that as well, because I feel like that got, you had the players themselves complaining. You had Fabiano's interview disappearing from the internet where he complained about it.
Yeah, the organizers seem a little chaotic, but it was still a fun event. Like it was a lot of drama. Hans just going crazy, bothering everybody, which is always fun to watch. It's fun to watch when he's like on form, like being like a
The
instigator,
villain, yeah, he really leaned
and
into
then
it
he's
for that.
beating everybody at the same time. Yeah, I mean, like it all makes sense why he's being the way he's being, because most of his villainy is focused on Magnus, and like if you just take it from his point of view, it makes sense why he would hate Magnus. It's perfectly logical. Like Magnus did this thing many years ago. Like in Han's mind, assuming he played fairly, he just beat the guy, and then the guy just railroaded his career. So it makes sense to just have a nonstop vendetta against him
And do you still think Hans played fairly?
in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, most likely. Right?
Yeah.
He seems pretty good at chess.
Yeah, he's been putting up some good results. So, from a professional perspective, like, do you think there's still changes that need to be made? Because the
Changes for the overall chess
yeah, I mean, if you could
sphere.
design a professional system, if you could design a circuit, it sounds like it would resemble the EW.
That's just one tournament, right?
Yeah,
Um, Honestly, it's a really tough question because in your head there's one way to do it, and then in reality, I feel like variety seems to play really well, like to make events seem less like just the same old thing, right? I feel like if you have 10 different events and they're all a little bit different, and you hold them once a year, I think that's nice. We have so many. Like the chess ecosphere is pretty good right now. I think the freestyle could use a little work. Um, but I think there's a really good place for it. I think the players do like freestyle in general. It just needs to be organized a bit better. Like with that organizer, I don't know the details of the drama with Fabiano's interview. I'd love to hear it. But I do think freestyle is quite interesting. And it's good to have really high profile freestyle events.
I'm less convinced, but
Why are you
listen,
not convinced?
I just feel like chess is hard enough when people know the openings. I get it for the players, but
Yeah, I just like to see something different now and then. I play this freestyle daily chess, so
right.
I find it like so interesting. Suddenly you're just thrust into this new thing, but like familiar thing, and interesting to notice the patterns in different starting positions.
Yeah, I also feel like it's somewhat unique in that the professionals, I feel like they're kind of trying to will it on the people. I don't know. I just didn't feel like
Mm,
there's this
I mean,
groundswell.
I think people enjoy the event quite a bit.
Yeah,
I
maybe I'm
think
just
I don't think it needs to take over for chess, because I agree. There's still when you play rapid chess, there's no doubt that there's no like problem with draws. Like the draw depth of chess is not even close, right?
yeah.
It is a problem, I think, sometimes in really slow chess. I mean, the draw rate is extremely high, like exceptionally high. But you know, still somehow usually players find a way to win a game here and there. But
Yeah.
in rapid, there's no problem. You could just play regular chess all the time. But why not have a freestyle event like one or two times a year? Like make it big, and I think I find it really interesting. I think other people do also, but I think yeah, you're right. There's some people who would be fine if it's just regular chess all the time.
Yeah, and I don't mind experimenting with formats. I would like more mixed time control formats, like, as the World Cup is in tie breaks.
Just
And
getting the different types of speed chess.
but even more classical, rapid hybrid type things,
Mhm.
I would be fine with. But yeah, just freestyle in particular has rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Anyway,
Well, you're
moving
so
on.
obsessed with your opening books. Don't
It's
you
not
want to
a.
not study this crap? God, it's like the
I,
worst. It's the worst part of chess by like far. It's not even close.
well, no, I totally get it for the
Yeah.
players. It's 100% get it for the players, but it's so foreign to so many people.
But
But anyway, I mean, if all four of them continuing to stage the tournaments, and if people watch, they can keep doing them. No one's being forced to watch.
yeah,
There's
and freestyle could take some time. I think it's like maybe in 5 to 10 years, this draw problem will get worse. Like who knows what's going to happen? So I think it's good to get freestyle into the ecosphere now, so that when if there ever becomes a time where we just have to play it for practical reasons, that it won't just come out of nowhere. Because who
yeah.
knows? Who knows how computers what they're going to do to chess?
Well, that brings me to the next topic I wanted to check in with you on is running the U.S. chess school. So you see the next generation in action. The last time we chatted we chatted during the Hans thing, but the last time I interviewed you was in 2021, and you were talking then about how much better the kids were. I'm guessing this has accelerated in the past
Well,
few
before we
years.
start, I wanted to point out we have it sounds like we have a mutual sponsor. Because Chessable also has been sponsoring the U.S. Chess School. They're giving people like good access to like with the pro membership, access to a lot of courses. So that's really
That's awesome.
helpful. Chess.com also a sponsor, so that's really it's super helpful for us. Yeah, the kids are just too good. And something's changed, and it's just like been really fast. It's hard to remember exactly what kids were like 15 years ago, but their knowledge was much worse. Like there's certain things you just have to know now, and every kid knows them. Nobody's showing up at our camps with like a 2150 rating at 10 years old, not knowing some, not having a reasonable opening repertoire. Whereas in a lot of our past camps, we would have kids, they're like a little lower rated, and I could just trick them in an opening very easily. I could just be like, okay, what do you do against this move? And they're like, I don't feel like that happens anymore. And it's because honestly, systems like Chessable are so, prevalent and kids have access to them. And it makes it easy to just know what to do in every position. Like I play these kids in Blitz. So my last camp was really special actually. We had it in New York City. Alex Ostrowski was the coach. We had 10 students. And basically, at one point, every single one of them was in the top five for the age. And three of the 10 kids were number one, three or four. It was like some insane number, were number one in the country for their age. So it was really a who's who of the future of chess in this country. And just playing them in Blitz is just very hard. It's like every single game, I know I'm better than them. I should be. But it's never an easy win. Like I know that I'm fighting for my life every time I play these kids. Like they can beat me so easily. To the extent where like I'm wondering, am I even a favorite, right? And it was never
And
like
they,
that feeling in the past yet. I am a favorite, but it's like,
and these kids are 10.
well, some were 11. No, it's
Okay.
like this camp was 9 to 13. But yeah, like I'm playing this kid like Lin Chi, and he's like 2310 years old. And when I say 2300, like 2360. And I'm playing them a blitz. I get this great position in the opening, and then they don't give up easily. Like they don't let you just roll them over too when you get a good position. I lost this game. I blundered my king, I think. This some no, I like no. He checkmated me. Well, he had a forced mate, and it was really terrible. Um, they're just good. They're more educated. I think because of Chessable, Chess.com, researches like this being so prevalent, the internet, better coaches. Everyone knows what you're supposed to do to get better. It's probably the same thing that's happening in India, why all those kids are just taking off.
And so do you do some, I mean, you bring in trainers like I am Alex
Yeah,
Ostrovsky and others, but you also give lessons. Do you
I
have to
do
chain?
sometimes. Do I have to train? What is that?
Like, is the same stuff still good enough? Do you have to
It
prepare more
is.
than you used to?
No, somehow, like I also give some tests, and I finish either first and second in all of them, and so I'm still better than them. It like kind of these things, but there's just something different now. Kids are better, and you can feel some computerization and some like extra level of knowledge that they've got from like just the better studying methods around. Like there's so many resources on how to play every opening. Like this kid plays the what's it called, the Archangel and the Ruy Lopez, and I know 100% he's watched Fabiano's course on it. Like there's no way that a kid that
Right.
level is playing this opening without having like studied the hell out of this course, right?
Which is probably 20 hours long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't ask him. I just know, like, I just, oh, come on, like, he's like number 2 in the country for his age. That's what you do. You study the material by the two playing in the world, right? And I just didn't feel that like 10 years ago, like that. Like, if I'm playing somebody, I just assume they just, I don't know how they learn the opening, some book by like some rando. I don't know. So it's just, everyone has a lot of information. The kids are very good at processing it, bringing it to the table.
And so you do camps where you get all the kids together with trainers like Alex. And then do you do online classes still as well?
Yeah, we have 2 a week.
Okay.
Johan Helston, who was a guest of yours very recently, that's amazing trainer. Like the
Yeah, he
material
really
he gets
is.
is like incredible. He coaches every Thursday, and then on Monday we have kind of like a rotating cast, like I name a few. We have like Alex Lenderman, Eugene Perlstein, Josiah Stearman, myself. Sometimes the Pet Dojo people come in with like Kostya and Jesse.
Good stuff. And do parents ask you for advice a lot? Like parents of these kids?
Yeah. They did a little more so when I was coaching more, I think. So like a lot of times in the past, I would actually coach the camps myself from like beginning to end. And I think I was actually really good at it, but it takes a lot of energy. And like I would prepare really hard and get all this stuff together because it's hard coaching this level of kid because if you're not prepared, they can make you look dumb.
Right.
Like it's not like I can just walk in there and just show any old nonsense. They're gonna just find every tactical mistake there is, like easily. So it just takes a lot of work to prepare for them, and I do it less nowadays. And even when I do, it's so funny. It's like this. Like, I use this term, imposter syndrome. I'm like, am I even as good as these kids? But I look at my ratings and I'm like, okay, I must be. There's definitely things I know that they don't know. But it's interesting because that once you start analyzing with them, so like let's say you show a game and you start analyzing some line that you haven't looked at with the engine. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes. And if you're in a class of 10 kids, at least one of them's gonna pick up on it, right? So you're just getting attacked from every direction. And I think it's fun to just kind of like understand that's going to happen and just be like, listen, you know, it doesn't mean you're worse than them, or it doesn't mean you're not able to teach them anything. You just got to realize that they're really strong players, and sometimes they're going to just outcalculate you or see things that you don't. And sometimes you're going to see and understand things that they don't. And hopefully they learn from those things.
And I think it's safe to assume this is not the U.S. as a unique case. This is probably true of young players everywhere.
I think so. I mean, they're getting so good, right? You got the Ergodless, is that his name?
Yeah, he's
Like
amazing.
his rating is very high and he's very young. You got Andy Woodward also crushing it. A little older, but I'm kind of curious how far he's gonna go.
Did he go to your camps?
He was in the COVID time, so he went to the online classes for like a year, but he never made it to an in-person one because we didn't have camps for like 2.5 years, almost 3 years at one point, and that was the prime time. And I think he would have been at the in-person camps, but he definitely was at a bunch of our online classes.
Yeah.
I know to see him in person.
Okay. Yeah, and he's really good at the puzzles too, right?
Yeah, he reminds me of it just he reminds me of somebody like doesn't seem like yet like to be a classical killer like a slow chess or whatever, but bounce time controls and bullet and stuff like that. He seems really good and really talented. So I'm kind of curious where we'll end up from that. I think he's 14 years old, maybe 15.
Yeah, Andy is 15 years of age. And Greg, aside from the U.S. Chess School, I mean, it's amazing work you're doing and you help nurture so many players. We've got your own game to talk about. So you mentioned you've been lazy with your blitz. In prior interviews, you talked about your daily opening routine. Again, I wrote in my book about your prescribed method of just making sure you learn a new move every time you encounter it. Obviously, you're not the only one.
Yeah.
to point this out. Do you still do that even?
Well, now I do. Well, okay, so like I've recently gotten into daily chess, like you mentioned, and it's great because it's basically like classical chess, except I don't have to sit there for 6 hours in a row. I mean, it's
Right.
literally the same thing. I think I spend a similar amount of energy in each game, just it doesn't have to be all at the same time. And actually, I didn't think I would. Like, if you had told me would I like to play chess, where it's basically like correspondence chess almost. Although on chess.com, I think it's a lot less like correspondence chess, but there is like time limits and rules, and it's much more convenient. But I would have never believed that I'd be into it. But it does allow me to play real chess games again, like real slow chess games again, where I think for 10 minutes sometimes in a move, right? And that's really good for coming up with teaching material when you play your own games and have your own problems you have to solve. And in these daily chess games, there's one rule: is you can look at chess databases during the game.
So you
And
can't run an engine, but
no
you
way.
can look at.
But yeah, you can look at like moves that have been played before. You can even read a book. I could look at a chessable during my game. And so what happens is you know that your opponents might be doing that too. Honestly, most of them don't. But
Hmm.
sometimes you're like, okay, I know this opening is just really, really hard to win this final position, but there's all these obstacles they have to jump through to even get there. But if they have the correspondence database, they're going to know what moves to make. And it's like interesting. You'll play a game and then somebody will play all the correspondence moves. And then after the game, I'll update my database of like what they did. And then I'll try to like come up with some ideas to fight that move, and then it will just be in my database forever. So I would say yes. After every game, when I'm playing a decent player who plays a move I haven't seen before, I will update my database with that move and with some ideas to fight against it. Or if I don't see any reasonable ideas, maybe I'll just play a new opening next time.
Do you need to review it to remember it? Or
Yeah, that's the thing. With daily chess, I might not remember some of the stuff that I just played in Blitz, right? Because one thing I find interesting about chess openings is, all right, so number one, with the white pieces, you have to work very hard to get an advantage, I think. With black, you don't have to do anything to get equality or better. Like, I can literally play any opening in the world, like in daily chess, by just opening a Chessable database, which is what I do, and just doing what they say. And then combining that with correspondence databases, I don't feel like I have to put in extra work to get equality. I feel like that's enough. I'm just going to get equality almost every time. If I'm looking at a database like any theory, Gustafsson and stuff like that, and I'm playing somebody who's IM or something or FM, they're not going to just crush me out of the opening. It's like almost impossible. Uh, there's a lot less reliance on having to remember things in the daily chess than there is in
yeah,
over the board chess, right? Which is nice. It's tough sometimes because when you play the best people, everybody knows everything, and you have to figure out how do I get any advantage of white or make it even a playable position. And I'm trying to think: do I want to play the main lines, or do I want to play something like Gustafsson's course, which is he's probably been on your show a few times, right?
oh yeah.
He has these kind of more simplified courses where you play Bishop B5 against the Sicilian, and in some way those are equal too, but maybe there's more play in the final position of the equality. Who knows?
And are you ending up with a lot of draws?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because that's the thing about daily chess. There's not that many good players. I'm like the highest rated player almost always, but there are like masters and stuff. But the level is enough where we can outplay each other, even in the
And
most simple position.
so it sounds like you're not encountering a lot of games that are like engine-y.
I'm playing some right now where I'm worried. I'm playing this guy who is I don't know who he is. If he's a national, he's a master. I know that national master. So I know pretty good chess player, and he's following like I don't want to give away. He's not gonna watch this, right?
Probably
We're
not.
playing this time on Sicilian, and it's like this Imperius course, and yeah, I can see how it's like really good to know the stuff and play it in a tournament game. But I looked at it with the engine, man, and it's not enough to win if they play right, for sure. And I'm going to just try it anyway. I'm just going to see, because he has to play 26 moves. And in the correspondence database, nobody's played the best defense. So if he's only going by that, he might just not know what to do at the end of everything. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But so
Okay.
far, yeah, I think if the players get stronger, if like there's more players my level playing, it's going to be, it'll be more challenging to figure out my opening strategy. Basically, my strategy now is with white, I just keep like hammering away with like mainline stuff, even if there's like some problem getting an advantage at the end. And if I run into too many roadblocks that way, then I'll reevaluate.
And does it make you want to return to classical chess?
This is classical chess. What do you
I mean, over the board?
think? Oh, this is so nice. I don't have to be anywhere at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in it, sadly. But I really like this because like it's the same stimulus pretty much, just much more freedom in life.
Makes sense. And of course, part of the reason, Greg, you haven't been doing as much blitz or as much chess is you became a trivia beast since our last interview.
That's my last
Uh,
one.
I think it was 2021, not counting when we talked about Hans.
Yeah, that's when I
Uh,
started.
yeah,
Oh
you
wow,
we didn't talk about it much. So how did you get into trivia?
interesting.
And we should say Greg has a blog and he's written about this a little bit, and I'll link to the post. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so some friends of mine were just in this trivia league, and I was like, I don't like trivia, man. You know why I didn't like trivia? There was a very specific reason too, because chess requires some level of talent, like pattern recognition. It's not just rote memorization. And I felt like trivia was just rote memorization. Like I just need to remember something and learn something. And if you don't know the answer, you can't figure it out, right? There's no room for creativity. That's what I thought. It's not completely true, but it's decently true. Um, but then my friends, they just bullied me into joining this league. And I was just like, okay, I'll do it. Why not? You know, it's a good way to be social or whatever. And the league had this really cool format, kind of like, you know, in the soccer leagues, there's like relegation and promotion and demotion. And there's like a bottom level and there's a top level, many levels above it. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to be in the bottom. I just like the way it was set up. It made me want to go higher on the pyramid, you know? And then, this one day I started to look at old Jeopardy games and looking at like Final Jeopardy questions. And I was just like, I'm just going to look at a few Final Jeopardy questions and study the answer. And I did it. I found it really fun because I'm like, oh, I'm learning things about the world. I'm learning about art. Maybe I'll just keep doing this. And I kind of turned it into a system. And what's funny is I use many of the same techniques that Chessable uses with spaced repetition and stuff like that to learn trivia. And so
The league is called Learn League, is that right?
Red League is one of that's the main league. There's a few other leagues I play in, but that's the one I think I take the most seriously by far.
And how many hours a day are you reviewing your flashcards?
Not as much as I used to. I used to be really obsessed. Now I'm kind of like kind of steady. I tried to lower it a bit so it wouldn't like take over my life too much. I would say 1 hour is the upper range.
And what would you say your rating is? Your trivia rating?
I'm good. I'm quite good. I'm like definitely master. I had thought about it like that because there's many types of trivia. There's like kind of like stodgy trivia, and there's like Jeopardy where you're like fast paced, buzzing in. I think I'm pretty decent at both of them. Probably a little better at Jeopardy than like kind
So it's like classical versus
of,
rapid,
something
sort of?
like that. I would say Jeopardy is like rapid,
Yeah.
and the classical is just like you have these questions and you have a long time to think about the answer and try to figure them out. And usually the questions are a little deeper and require more specialized knowledge, maybe.
And of course, I interviewed some time ago Jonathan Corbla, well known chess teacher and
Mhm.
personality who's been on a million game shows, including
Yeah.
Jeopardy. Are we going to see you on Jeopardy, Greg?
Oh, maybe. I mean, if I wanted the chance to win, but I could lose. it, playing poker has really helped me in that regard with Jeopardy because I know I'm better than the average player in Jeopardy without any question, right? It's not even close, but there's a lot of variance. And when you show up, you play somebody who's a previous champion, and they could just be somebody who's also really good. They're used to the buzzer. They beat me the first game, and then I go home and I lost. Like I know a lot of good people that I've played with who have been on the show and lost their first game. Whereas if they just won that first game, they could have easily won like 5 or 10 after it.
And
Also,
for international listeners, Jeopardy's a pretty popular game show, trivia show here, where you can win a lot of money if you, particularly if, as Greg said, if you win a bunch in a row. And then do you try out? We've talked about this offline, but remind me, how often can one try out, and do you actively do that?
well, by the way, when I say I'm like better than the average player, like I just want to clarify, like there's definitely players who are better than me that I'm sure are better than me that have been on the show. But for the most part, like the majority of the time, I give myself the edge against people. I tried out, yeah, I try out every year or whatever.
Is it once a year or?
Yeah, it's something like that. But honestly, I made it like they called me back or something. So it's not like a total pipe dream. Now. I'm actually closer to the point that's going on.
And would you have to like start from scratch to try to get on, or you're like shortlisted at this point?
I don't even know. I'm on some lists.
Okay.
Honestly, though, it's very stressful. If I'm on, it's going to be like some really intense few weeks.
Is that how much notice you get?
Yeah, something like that. And it's just like everything relies on this one day. You just have to hope that number one, you're playing against opponents who are not that good. It can happen sometimes. Or even if they are good, you just have to hope you beat them. These daily doubles come up, and you usually you want to bet a lot of money on them. And I track everything very accurately, so I get about 80% of them right. But I could just say one of those 20% that I get wrong. And
Yeah.
just like poker, you lose the aces to king was about to happen,
Yeah.
and it just can happen, and then you lose the game, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, it'll be fun. And obviously, if you ever get on, you'll announce it on your Instagram, I guess. How are we going to make sure we watch it?
Oh yeah, I mean people will know. I mean I'll have like 2 months. It takes like 2 months later anyway.
Okay.
But I'm very stressed. Like I actually don't mind if I never get on because it's very stressful. I mean life is so good and relaxed, and then they need you gotta wake up in the morning and like
Laziest. Your
my little
unique
brain.
combination of lazy and not lazy.
I actually am, yeah. But I will go if they tell me to them in the show. I will go there, assuming I'm in the country, and do my best.
So,
I mean, I guess an interesting problem that I have if I'm on the show, I'm literally going to go there weeks ahead of time to get used to waking up at 6 in the morning, and just like really practice waking up and being a morning person.
yeah, that's a good idea. Might have to finally start drinking caffeine too.
Uh,
And you mentioned spaced repetition in terms of learning the trivia. Would you say it sounds like it's easier to improve at trivia than chess
oh,
for an
God,
adult?
yeah. It's not even close. I mean, how like honestly, so like I made it to the top group, the top level of this learned league within a year and a half, maybe.
Wow.
And that, like, yeah, so I think it's not even close. If somebody really wanted to be good at trivia and they're willing to spend 1 to 2 hours a day at it, they would improve very drastically in a year or two. But it does take work. I worked very hard. And I think I did things intelligently. I think I could have done them even more intelligently, but I think most people would have done them less than they did.
Okay. And you still have a good memory. You still feel like you
Yes. Yes, but when you do this trivia, when you play a lot of Jeopardy games, invariably you end up forgetting something it's just like really basic knowledge, and you just feel so stupid. Like, so I get a few things in a row right, and they'll be asked, it'll be like, who wrote Moby Dick? This actually happened to me the other day. Author of Moby Dick was basically the question, and I just forgot his name. And it's like the most basic thing.
right.
I've heard it 8 trillion times, and this happens to me sometimes. And every time I'm like, oh, is this where my brain is no longer working correctly? But then I remember most things. So I just figure sometimes I'm going to mess up, not be able to recall something within 5 to 10 seconds. It's okay.
Okay. Well, great. I keep very close tabs on who the Patreon subs are. Obviously, appreciate every one of you. But Greg, I think some sort of imposter slid into the Patreon question. Someone named Rada Lou. I don't think that's a Patreon sub, and furthermore, this person had 5 questions for you. Greg, do you know this? We're not going to cover them all, but do you know? Okay. So we will just read 1 or 2 of them. Question number 1 for me is: you seem like a very consistently very happy and positive person. Does that come easy to you, or do you have to work on it?
Yeah, it comes easy to me now. Yeah, I mean, I think my brain chemistry is good for happiness, and also somehow I've gotten really lucky in like finding things that I love that I'm able to like do for a living, so I don't have to spend a lot of time doing things I don't enjoy. I think also, the few things that make me happy that I do that are not like normal, like my sleep schedule, I think is a little unique, but it makes I get really unhappy when I'm tired and I don't function well early in the morning.
All right, the
Yeah,
secret to life revealed right
well,
there.
no, I mean everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has different things that they want, and the other thing is society tells you not to do a thing, but it's the thing you feel like is the right thing for you. I think I've been very good at just doing that thing, even against what people are telling you is healthy or right, stuff like that, and that makes me happier.
Yeah. So, for example, dropping out of college, as we've talked about in previous interviews, and becoming a poker player, never getting a real job, managing to make that work.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot of luck involved and what they call survivorship bias, right? Like I'm the one
Right.
who made it work. There's probably like 50 of me who didn't, and it's just, I happened to get lucky maybe. But I probably did some things right also.
I agree. As a longtime friend of yours. Okay. And another question from Rada. This will probably be the last one from her. If you had to sing any song for 20 seconds on a podcast, what song would it be? Then maybe we can hear it.
Voice is suddenly like I'm drinking all this water.
We have more chess content coming, by the way, if anyone's about to turn this off even though Greg does have a good voice. 20 seconds might be a bit much, by the way. We'll settle. 10.
Honestly, it's funny. My voice started to like get like a little funny.
This is why you're worried about Jeopardy. Stage
Yeah.
fright.
Which one would it be? Oh, Whole New World, maybe, or like that. The Aladdin song, or any song. There's like a bunch of songs. Actually, when I was streaming on Twitch, every now and then
Yes.
people would ask me to sing songs.
Okay.
It's hard for me to decide.
Okay. So listeners will have to go through your Twitch channel.
Well, I mean, I didn't say it 4 or 5 years ago.
Bummer. All right. And back to returning to chess.
So
So
make me sing it. Wow.
it seemed like you didn't want to. I mean,
Sing it?
okay. It's too late now.
Really?
Now you got to do it. No, now you got to do it.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, hold on. Hold on. A whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. No one to tell us no, or where to go, or say we're only dreaming. That's all you get for now. I hope it's okay.
That was lovely.
Like,
so I actually can't remember if you've sung on the podcast
I
before.
I think you made me sing once before, but I don't remember what song. I think
But
you told me what song to sing.
You're joining a young Christopher Yu and Nathan Resica
on
the short list of people.
He's an opera singer, of course.
The short list of people who have.
I actually really like singing like opera songs and going places. I mean, I'm sure he was very good.
Yeah, he has a great voice. So returning to chess. So again, recurring story here on Perpetual Chess, FM Donny Ariel's quest for the Grandmaster title. So listeners will have heard Jan and I discuss it, then discuss it again without Donny. But Greg is also old friends with Donny, and I understand, Greg, you have some takes.
I have just one take. It's a disagree with Jan. Well, I have two takes. Well, one has nothing to do with Donny. It has to do with me more. Take number one is that Donny could do it. He could be GM. There's just no chance he's going to do the amount of work and the things he needs to do to make that happen, like zero. And also, it would probably like be kind of crazy. Like he would really have to go his whole life to it, even though it's not a guarantee.
Right.
But he has talent, right? Like, and he's not that far away, so just spends like reorganizes his whole life. But the problem is he has a lot of bad study habits with chess, so they're just like insane. Like he won't do the basic things that every professional chess player does because it's actually a really important thing. It's the chess world has changed so much in the last 10, 20 years. And he has not been part of that, I think. Like he hasn't been playing while that's happening, so he doesn't quite understand, I think, the difference. Whereas I at least been teaching kids and I see it happening. So you can't get away with the things that were acceptable 20 years ago when he was at his peak. And that's actually would be an issue for me if I came back to chess. Like I would have to rebuild myself a little bit and figure out what's the right approach to fight against the new type of chess and the new like opening knowledge that people have, and like, I just think people are much more knowledgeable. It's like less likely I'm just gonna crush some basic opening trout if they're like 22, 2300. If they really figure something out, I think I'd figure it out, but I don't know. I don't know the
So, how many hours a day, if Donnie did all the right things and put the time in, what kind of time commitment would it take?
6 hours a day for like years. I don't know how
Okay.
many
Yeah.
years.
I
Like
mean,
he'd have to set up his life to like be about chess and like have coaches and get with the opening databases. And I could be wrong. Maybe he couldn't. But like, there's a lot of ways to become GM. He could win the senior championship in 20 years. But I don't think we're not looking for these loopholes, right? We're looking for actually
yeah.
2,500. And I think there's a chance. I'm not saying 100% you could do it. I just think it's wrong to discount somebody who has he's been 24 something. I don't know how high his CDA ever was. I'm pretty sure it was above 2,400 at some point. So, it shouldn't be zero. But
Well,
it
it's
should be
kind.
zero if he's going to make videos like he does and just really look at an opening database. Like, okay, then it's zero.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of semantics when you know him. Because
Yeah.
shout out, all due respect to Donnie, who didn't even listen to my podcast with Jan updating his chances. Anyway, it's kind of semantics because it's like if you say, "Oh, he could do it if he did these 12 things," and you know him, and you know there's 0% chance that he's going to do those 12 things, then there's 0% chance that.
It's true. But it's like it's more from an intellectual standpoint. Like, what about somebody else who has the same rating, history, and
Yeah,
win and stuff like that, and talent level as him? Because honestly, he probably maybe he's like a little more talented than his rating because he never really did the
yeah,
physical study methods. And yeah, he's still got to be pretty good.
yeah. And as always, it could be resolved somehow if there was some giant bet.
Yeah, but no, there's no amount of money at this point.
Yeah.
Like even if it was $10 million, because he has kids and life. Even for 10 million, he's not going to spend 6 hours a day. I think.
You
Maybe,
need like
maybe
a yeah. You need like a minimum stipend and like a giant carrot.
something like that. Get him. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, there are people where I don't like to think that things are impossible, right? Like when somebody really puts their mind to it, who knows what they can do? Like you can go down the list. Like what about somebody who's only 2,200 and they're 40 years old? Can they become grandmaster? And probably they won't. But I don't know. Because there's levels of effort that people have not put in, and what if they do? What if they
Yeah.
literally do that?
So any more takes on Donnie, or is
Oh, the
that
other take is I could definitely beat you. If John wants to, like, but I'm not going to.
right?
But yeah, I just want to bait John a little bit.
Okay. I mean, back in the day, it would have been a formality for you to be a GM, so
Yeah, I mean,
you're
I'm going
probably
to
not
not
that
do it
far
for the same
off.
reason. Because literally, I just announced that I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm literally not going to play in a tournament.
Right.
Um, but I think like I could figure it out. If I was going to play, I'd figure out something. I have the advantage. I'm only 24 points away from the rating. And the rating, I think it's the hardest part. Once I get that, it's like a formality. So, like, if I just somehow, I don't know, like, early stage of tournaments, make sure there's not too many like 11-year-old 1900s in the tournament or something. Because once you get the rating, all you do is get norms. And those will just happen by variance.
yeah. Okay. And we had one more question from Brian Karen that I left out earlier. So returning to professional chess, Brian asked, he said, how do you feel Carlsen's abandonment of the classical title should affect his legacy when he's competing with GOATs such as Kasparov, who defended his title until he lost?
That's a good question. I mean, well, how old is Carlsen? Like 32, 33?
Yeah.
I think it's too short term, but like say he abandons it for 4 years and then like wins it again. I don't think it affects it too much. Like probably he would still be classical champion if he didn't abandon it. I would say like a 80% chance. Everyone knows the best player in the world. It's not a question. Even if he has like some little bumps in a classical tournament here and there, but nobody's arguing about that. And I think the most important thing is who was the best player in the world. It's clearly Magnus. Like when Kasparov lost to Kramnik, for the next year or two, it was still obvious that Kasparov was the best player in the world, right? I don't think losing to Kramnik hurt his legacy. It's just one 12-game match. The guy happened to pick on some weak spots that Gary had. I mean, I'm not saying, it doesn't help his legacy. Lowers it by some small percentage, I would say.
Do you have a GOAT ranking? Do you have a top? What's your top three
Two, I think, is Kasparov, Carlsen.
in that order?
No, I don't know the order. I mean, he's only 33, right? So, like, I'm guessing he might be 32, 34. I don't. It's so hard. Sometimes these questions are tough. Like in basketball, for example, Jordan, LeBron. Who cares?
Jordan is the correct
Everyone
answer.
cares. They're both so good. It's like, do we know what would happen if we put LeBron in Jordan's spot in the 90s? Maybe he would win 6 times too. Maybe not. Who the hell knows, right? Like, he's so good that it's definitely not impossible. Who knows? Maybe Jordan would not ever win in LeBron's spot. My point is, I don't think it's a easy answer. I think it's really hard to say that, like, the game's so different. If I had a gun to my head and I had to pick somebody. Oh. I've been like alive for more Magnus' stuff, so I'm still mad too about Kasparov's such move thing against Polgar, because I think it's
Yeah.
been determined that he touched the piece, right?
Yeah. You should
Just
tell
admit
the
it, dude.
story.
Just be like, okay, man, I touched it. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
and then move on. It's funny. How clear was it?
I mean, I've seen the videos. I don't know how clear it was at the time, but
Yeah,
now
but it's
you can
past
see his
that. We
finger
can
on the
see we
piece.
can see
So
the videos, right? So it's
yeah.
like that he's fighting all these dictators, right, who just lie and make up the truth. Yo, man, we got video when you touching that piece.
I mean, one could argue like he didn't realize it. That's the best you could hope for,
I'm
but you
sure he
can't.
didn't. I believe he didn't realize it because it's very easy to touch a piece and just not sure if you made the physical contact, right? And the second thing is your mind's very good at tricking you very quickly. So, like, you can maybe touch it and then your mind's like, yeah, you didn't really touch it, did you? And then you just kind of go with that story. And I don't think he was like cheating or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, like, you touched the piece, man. Admit it. Post it. Make a tweet.
Yeah, I mean, he said, well, Magnus is not the best at admitting when he's wrong either. It seems
No,
to
they're
go
not.
along with
They're not world
seems to go
champions.
along with being the world champion.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not world champions admitting when they're wrong. Nor was Fischer.
Yeah.
I wonder who
Um
is.
yeah, and for any listeners not familiar with the Judith Polgar Gary Kasparov touch move controversy, you can just look that up and you'll get your fill.
I'll give it to Kasparov
Yeah, that's
for
where I
now.
land too.
But
I
it's
mean,
like,
Magnus always says Kasparov's more accomplished.
but I think it's harder to be as dominant in this age with the computer. Everyone has access to computers, so it's like the amount of dominance that Magnus has shown in this era. I feel like it's less than Kasparov's dominance in his era, but maybe like more. It might be more impressive because of the resources that everybody has. Whereas I think Kasparov had like exclusive access to certain resources that other players were denied. Maybe.
Yeah. It also seemed like at his peak, the gap between Kasparov and Karpov was often tiny, and Magnus, there was that moment where Fabiano and their ratings were neck and neck, but overall, Magnus has been
Yeah.
comfortably the best.
Yeah. But Karpov is like, I think it's Karpov one of the all-time greats, so probably top five.
Yeah.
Whereas, I'm not sure you would put Fabiano or somebody in that realm. I think it would have been really interesting if it's just an alternate universe where Magnus doesn't exist, what the chess world would look like, and would the title just change hands all the time, or would somebody just? Because I felt like that happens a lot. Like for almost all of our life, all the way back to Fischer. That's when it started. Except for a period of a very few small years, there's been somebody who was just basically far ahead of everybody else, except like the few years of Kasparov-Karpov and the few years of like a non-Topolov-Kramnik. It was like Fischer, Karpov, Kasparov, Carlsen, and they're just somehow somebody finds a way to just push ahead of everybody else. And I wonder, is that like some kind of thing that happens in chess, or is it just random? It's kind of special.
Yeah. If like success begets success at the top level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right now, this side of Magnus, it's wide open. So whoever's next, it'll be
True. I mean,
fascinating.
I look forward to see who plays Gukesh next, because I do think Gukesh versus Ding. There's a good match, but Ding is not the player he once was, and
Yeah.
whoever finds their way through the cycle to play Gukesh next,
Yeah.
they're gonna be mad, they're gonna be hungry, they're gonna have
That
the
see,
blood.
yeah, see, I don't get as excited for some of these tournaments, but I'll be excited for that.
Yeah, I mean,
Whoever's,
it's gonna be a really interesting match. I like Gukesh's stuff. He is like a killer. So
yeah,
he's like a nice, humble guy. But then you interview him stuff like, how do you feel playing your friends? Like, oh, he just doesn't care at all. Like,
Right.
well, there was some funny quotes about him in Prague in some tournament. Like, how does it feel that you're doing well and your countrymen in Prague or something lost? He's like, I don't care. I only care about my own results. Even though they are like friends.
All right. Well, Greg, been too long. Good to catch up. We'll do it again sometime. Any final thoughts?
I have thoughts. It's a lot of pressure.
Word.
It's great to see that me being a guest on your podcast many years ago catapulted you to stardom and fame, and that you have been going at it for what, like 7 years now or something.
It's
like
almost 10 years.
10?
Yeah. It'll started in December of 2016. So
10 years. Wow, that's amazing.
yeah.
Good job.
It's all you.
Good job, you too. How does it feel to like must feel good, right? To just go, just try this thing, and then you're like this big part of the chess ecosphere.
I don't think about it that often. That's nice of you to say. I'm just thinking about who my next guest is.
Yeah, but there's always somebody, and it's
what
always
book I have to read.
interesting.
Yeah.
And there's like endless like these adult improvers. It's always really interesting that topic. We didn't talk about the Daily Chess Team League.
No, it's not too late.
Okay, yeah, not too late. I guess I got to talk about this because it's kind of demented but interesting also. So there's this chess league. So I wanted to find new avenues to play daily chess against good players on chess.com because it's hard to find like, organized tournaments. So chess.com, every month they have one tournament that's 3 days per move. It's an official tournament, 1800 and above. And in daily chess, it's a pretty high rating. Like I'm 22 something, and that's pretty high on their rating system. Then there's a tournament that's 1 day per move, and they have a few of these every month. There's like a 960 tournament, but I wanted more action. And then Sam Copeland was like, yo, they have this team event, which is like states who play against other states, and it's like a team competition. And there's like tiers, and Pennsylvania, where I live, happens to be in the top tier, which is nice. And I looked at the teams, and I decided to join, and I'm like immediately the best player on the team. And the way the league works is you just can play with as many players as you want. We could bring 100 players to the match. It's not like a 4 versus 4 match. It's like anyone who wants to play can play. And I'm like, I'm just going to get everyone I know who's affiliated with Pennsylvania on the team, and we're going to dominate this league forever. Because I could tell, like, if I got like a bunch of people in, it would really help. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that. Like, you are now on the team.
I'm like 50th board.
No, yeah, you're like 10th or something, right? But like the ratings are random. Like a lot of people don't have. Like my dad is playing, but he hasn't. He started with like a really low rating. He's slowly moving it up, but he's like
Senior Master Mike Shahade. Shout out to Iron Mike.
And the thing about this league that's great though. So how most teams are like 4 versus 4, and you just have to like pick the best 4 people. These matches are great because everybody actually really matters. So let's say we're playing a team. We have 50 players who play, and the other team only has 40. Well, our bottom 10 boards then don't play in the match, so it's 40 versus 40, but that usually gives us a huge advantage, right? So even adding a 1,200 player, a 1,000 player to our lineup is valuable because if they end up having to play, they're probably going to play somebody that's maybe lower rated than them or something like that. So like, it's a cool league in that. When I'm trying to recruit players for the team, I don't care what your rating is. If you want to play, like you will help the team. 1,400, 1,500, 1,600, all like super valuable. Of course, the higher rated you are, like technically you're more valuable. But I just find it really interesting, and I'm kind of curious if like we've already decided we're going to win this year. Because this league has existed since 2011. Pennsylvania has never won, but we're off to a great start in our first match, and we played like the defending 2 champions, like the co-champions. We play in the first 2 weeks, and I think we're gonna first 2 months. I think we're gonna win both matches.
And if anyone listening is interested, they'll have to wait till next year,
No,
right?
No. You don't have to wait till next year.
Even outside of Pennsylvania? Like, I'm from Philly. You recruited people, Philly or Pennsylvania affiliated, but someone in Wyoming who's listening can still join?
Yes, because a match happens every month, right?
Okay.
You can join in the middle of the season.
Great.
So anyone from Pennsylvania, get in touch with me because we need you. because we're going for the 10-year dynasty plan. And what I want to do this. I want to like really get this team like stacked so that we're like crushing everybody. And I want to see if some other team tries to do the same thing. And then I think that would be interesting. But the great thing about it is even when you do recruit like lots of really top, whatever, like strong players to this league, everyone still has a place in the team. Like of all rating levels, can be really valuable. That's why I like this team competition. And that's like because that I can honestly say to somebody who's like much lower rated than me, like, hey, you will really help us.
Okay, so we'll link to info on that. Yeah, and I'm like on move 8. My opponent's super slow, but at least it's got me playing a couple games. All right, thank you again, Greg. This is really goodbye this time.